Either you sell beats or you give them away. Either you make beats for the love or you make beats for the money. Either you get paid upfront fees or you get money on the back end as royalties. Have you heard any of these lies before? Producers love spreading them. I'm convinced a lot of us producers just don't want to make a living and don't want anybody else to make a living either. Very quickly, you can sell beats over here and give beats away over there depending on how you feel about a project. As far as doing it for the love, the greatest musicians, artists, producers, whoever on the planet in history have always charged for their time and their creativity. Even though they love the process, even though they were making art at a higher level, there's nothing wrong with getting paid and making a living off of your art. You can still love it. And lastly, most upfront payments for beats are just advances on royalties. So yes, you're getting money on the front end and the back end as royalties. But let's talk about this conversation I had with Cody of Internet Money. I think some people were disappointed that it wasn't a fight because they definitely tried to make it one. The internet, especially the producer community, loves trolling, loves conflict. I mean, I feel like it's getting worse. But some of us are adults who live this, who love this, and who do this as a living. We have no reason to be assholes to each other. I tweeted that giving away beats in exchange for future royalties didn't make sense. Cody posted some tweets talking about all of the experiences he's had giving away free beats in exchange for 50-50 splits. Some people jumped on this exchange like it was a beef and tried to dick ride their way to some social media clout. But in reality, both of us agree. We were just sharing some different perspectives and our own respective experiences. I'm going to explain a couple ways to give away free beats that benefit you. And I'm going to give you some real data and some real tools you can use to make those decisions. But I'm going to start by explaining why this idea of simply giving away free beats as your main revenue model can be problematic. I give away free beats weekly. If you're a part of my email list and you're a recording artist, you're probably going to get a free beat a couple weeks out of the month. That's not my revenue model. That's customer appreciation. And I honestly get backlash for that even. Seriously, I can't make this stuff up. But as far as trading beats for future royalties goes, if you're making a decision with your heart and spirit, not your financial future, cool. That's part of music. A lot of the stuff that we do isn't necessarily rational. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But we got to have fun and be creative and collaborate. If you're making an educated guess based on data and projections, that's also cool. Regardless, give away free beats if you want. I'm not telling you what to do. When it becomes problematic, in my opinion, is when people offer you nothing but present it as something, as an opportunity, as a good opportunity for you. What I mean is this: I do this for a living. I have bills. And I also know that, especially at this point in my career, I deserve compensation for my level of expertise, for my experience, and for my time. However, some artists try to hit me with this finesse move where they say, just give me the beat for free. You'll get paid back on the back end. The problem is, they've never made any money on the back end. They don't even necessarily know how to make money on the back end. What I mean is they're not even registered with a PRO. They don't even know what Sound Exchange is. They have no idea how distribution works. They have no idea how to use their distributor to actually set up automatic splits with their producers. My beats are inexpensive. I'm always giving deals. So it's extra offensive to me to have somebody lie to me like this and try to play me like I don't understand the music business. If you get 100 streams a month, for example, even 1,000 streams a month, you're not generating any royalties, and therefore you can't offer me a cut of those future royalties as a payment for my tracks. Future royalties aren't really real money. So if the foundation of your business as a music producer is to give out beats in exchange for royalties, that's not something I would personally advise. So I had one recording artist in particular really disagree with me. He said he survived off of one song for a long time. I believe I asked him to see the stats. I didn't get a reply. He said, instead, you're stopping the movement by wanting cash up front from an artist that can't afford it. Because, I make a living making money, so I just keep my prices low. And yes, more often than not, I ask for some type of fee up front. So here's why what he's saying doesn't make sense. If he's saying that an artist can't afford the upfront fee, but if I work with them, I'm going to make a ton of money on the back end, something's not adding up. Because if this artist has a pattern, a history, an established method of getting a bunch of money on the back end, then they can afford $24.99 for a beat lease. Yeah, $24.99. I'm not talking about thousands of dollars like that. One singer was talking about she's not going to pay $5,000. No one's charging $5,000 for beats on the internet. Come on. If you are making money on the so-called back end, say for a fact you're going to make $1,000 off this record, then it's nothing to invest $20, $30, $40 on the beat. But unfortunately, some artists aren't making anything, and they use this line of logic to try to convince an unsuspecting producer to just waive the fee. Like this guy, for example, he reached out for a custom beat. I don't think my prices are for a custom beat unreasonable, especially when you're talking about me making something exclusively for you and then transferring master ownership over to you. $500, come on. So he said, Jesus, I don't have money like that. What about a percentage of the profit? This is the move. This is what people will do to lie to you. If he doesn't have $500, how is a percentage of the profits going to help me? I'm not an idiot. If you can't afford $500 right now, you're not generating $500 on the back end for me via royalties and profits. Also, I'm getting a percentage anyway as the creator of the song. We're not going to get into that just yet. And he says, bitch, watch your fucking mouth talking crazy. I can't do it. So then back to this other artist. I don't know why Colby's so mad at me. What if I blew up off of one of your beats? What artists have you introduced to the game? None. There are a couple producers in my city with multiple gold plaques because I connected them with. You know what? You're right. I ain't shit. But let's talk this tweet. What if they get 10 million streams plus shows? I don't know what shows have anything to do with it. You missed out. One, how many artists, unsigned artists, get 10 million streams off a single record? Very few. Even the top unsigned artists, 10 million streams is a big deal. And we're talking about 10 million streams on an average song. Again, I feel like this argument is just trying to convince us to put our guard down and say, yeah, you know what, we're being unreasonable asking for $24.99 for Beatles. We're going to talk about this $10 million thing in a minute when I show you a tool for estimating how much an artist is generating from a song based on their streams. Another response that I got, just, for the sake of argument, was that, okay, what if Drake, I forget who asked me this, what if Drake told you he wanted a free beat? Well, one, he wouldn't, because he just signed a Universal deal for $400 million. His label is covering the beats. Drake is not doing his own business. He is a signed artist. I don't even think the label allows him to do his own business in that regard. But fine, we'll just go with this ridiculous example, this hypothetical. What if Drake were an unsigned artist, but he were still as popular as he is right now? Would he offer me a 50% royalty split in lieu of just an upfront payment for the beat? I doubt it. Let's say he did, though. The point still stands that it doesn't really make sense for him to not pay in advance that he's going to automatically recoup anyway off the various royalty streams generated by his songs. So in my tweet, did I say I wouldn't give Drake a free beat? No, I didn't say I wouldn't give free beats out, period. I said the model doesn't make sense. And to me, it doesn't. There are holes in the logic. The main hole in the logic is that if an artist is asking for the free beat to begin with, they likely don't think that it's going to generate money anyway. Because if they did believe that the song would be making money off of royalties, they just pay your lease fee and then recoup the cost. They would know you get some royalties anyway, maybe not a 50-50 master split, but it's not an either or situation. It's not either royalties or upfront payment. More than likely in the Drake scenario, right? Drake is going to say, you know what? I'm getting billions of streams. I'm unsigned, but I'm rich as hell because I'm Drake, and I'm unsigned, so I'm making even more money. So I'm going to offer paying one $5,000 for this beat. I'm going to give him 3 royalty points rather than 50% master split. He's going to get his $5,000 and be happy, and I'm going to generate way more than that, and he's going to get 3%. So I think a lot of these hypotheticals are just from people who don't really have any experience in the music business. Again, my policy is to just keep prices low so that artists can afford them and let them recoup their costs before paying me a cent from master royalties. To me, that seems fair. I've done work. This is how I pay my bills. Just the same way an artist shouldn't perform for free for a promoter who's making money off a show. Like, everyone deserves to make a living. And there were a bunch of producers who, they were having these silly conversations about music shouldn't be about the money. Matter of fact, someone threatened to shoot me because of that. The people that tell musicians to focus on love over money are creating a false dilemma, not to mention an incredibly toxic narrative. From DJ Premier to Bob Dylan to Bob Marley, legendary musicians generate money from their music. They love making music so much. That they turned their love into their livings. Even this super tough gangster dude that threatened to shoot me over this conversation, he's making money somewhere. You're going to do a job for the love? HR department comes up to you and is like, hey, all those reports you've been writing and turning in, they're great. I can tell you do it for the love, so we're just going to eliminate your salary. Cool, right? They're hypocrites. So what about 50-50 royalty splits, right? We haven't addressed that yet. Because I'm never saying don't get into collaborative situations with artists. Absolutely not. I've done that a bunch of times. If you're working with someone you have good chemistry with, whose music you love, work with them. Cody says he makes good money doing this. Now, he does this with a select few artists he believes in. We had a really good exchange where, ultimately we agree. His revenue model doesn't revolve around just giving out free beats. He said he makes the majority of his money off of, industry placements, that kind of thing. And I remember back the first time I interviewed him, it was him and Ghost, they were already hitting the 6-figure mark off of their beat lease sales. And that's 6 figures a year. And he also makes it incredibly clear that he has an ear for finding talent, finding potential, but he also uses data. I don't know what kind of data he uses to project an artist's success. I'm going to show you some ways to do that. We're going to go back to the rapper that was upset with me who gave me the 10 million streams example, right? And I'm going to show you why this is really not an exact science. The way people want it to seem is that, if you get streams, you're automatically generating royalties. What the general consensus is, and I'm going to show you why this isn't even true, is that on average, for every million streams you get, you make 4,000. So I looked at a lot of royalty calculators. They all pretty much go by this metric, $0.004 per every stream. So this is what you get per stream, $0.004. This one seems a little more realistic, that it's more like every million streams makes you about $3,400. However, when I compare all of these data to my actual earnings, I just want to show you these. I'm going to focus on these three. The song out of these three that made the most money didn't receive a full million views, and I only owned 45%. And this is on the master side, right? We're talking about master royalties here only. This is what your distributor pays you. Now I own 50% of this song here, made $828. I owned 45% of this song and got $1,200, a little over $1,200. This song here that got a million streams rather, I owned 20% of and made about $660 off of. Now, based on this $0.004 per stream metric, what I should actually be making is... So that's why I don't trust these calculations. And I think the conclusion to draw from this is no one knows what the hell a stream is worth. They just don't. So I would rather err on the conservative side when it comes to calculating royalty. Imagine a scenario where, this rapper he gets 10 million streams off of my song, and I almost lost this placement because I had the nerve to ask for $24.99 for the lease. Generates $34,800, probably something like that. How much of that is he giving me? I would have to depend on him to cut me in 50%, which already is like pulling teeth for a lot of people, especially if I don't know them. But that would make me about $17,000, right? If you only do that once a year, you can't really live off that. If you do that, say, 4 times a year, now you're making almost $70,000 a year, which is a solid living. Cool. How easy is it to do that 4 times a year? How likely is it that an artist is going to get 10 million streams on each of the songs they drop, and they drop 4 songs that year and give you a 50-50 split on all of them? People are struggling to get 100,000 streams on these streaming services. So that's why I say if you're using that as your revenue model, you're really taking a major gamble. You can use multiple revenue streams to make up your revenue model. If you're leasing beats over here, selling some exclusives over here, there are artists who you believe in that you're working 50-50 with over here. Just figure it all out, see what works for you. So if an artist contacts you and they want to do some kind of 50-50 situation, like for example, if Caitlin hit me up, oh shit, she's got 1.5 million monthly listeners, and I would look at her streams. This is just one platform. She's getting more streams than this because she's on multiple platforms. I would check to see what her average number of streams is per song. So for her, the average, let's just call it, I'm not going to count the Russ record. Let's say it's 1.5 million, right? I would look at a track like Hillary just to see when it came out. So 2021, 1.5 million, about $5,000 generated. So if I did a 50-50 deal with her I don't know how long it took to get 1.5 million streams. Maybe it would happen in a matter of a couple years. You know, I'm making like, we have a 50-50 split off of Spotify alone. I'm making $2,600. You know, cool. Would I personally do that? Yeah, I would. But I'm making an educated guess based on some of these verifiable data here. I'd be curious to have a conversation with Cody to see what kinds of measures he's actually using to make these decisions. Are those numbers perfect? No. And then that's where your ear comes in, and there are a lot of X factors, and you know, everything's a gamble, and not everything's a gamble. A lot of stuff is a gamble in the music business, and a lot of it is a labor of love. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But hopefully this information helps you make an educated guess when it comes to working with artists, when it comes to making projections, and when it comes to just feeling good about decisions that you're going to make, even if they feel like gambles. Shout out to Cody for the conversation. Shout out to everyone else who chimed in. However you end up selling or giving away beats, wish you lots of success. And ultimately, even when you don't make money, it can still be a fun, enjoyable, and fulfilling experience. Much success to you. Peace.